Hold it back, Damien. Jesus, she's strong. Good evening and welcome to Gaelic Football Views on We Are Cavan. Get right from.
On tonight's show, we'll be looking back over a very busy weekend on the club scene. We'll be discussing the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship semi-finals and the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship final. But first, we're going to look ahead to the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate Championship final, which is coming up this Sunday. It's between Ballyhaise and Arva.
You're out of breath, are you? It was a big round.
She's so strong. She's strong.
And we're delighted to be joined by the chairman of the Arva Club, obviously Niall Brady, and the chairperson of the Ballyhaise Club, Miss Susan Brady. So folks, you are welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks very much, Michael.
And congratulations to both of you. Back in finals again. Obviously Arva in the junior final last year, lifting the Hugh Leddy Cup. Last year you were in the intermediate final, just coming up short to Coothill, but you're back again. And I suppose the year for Ballyhaise, I suppose we'll look back over the path to the final. First game against Swanland Bar, and when the draw was made, I remember commenting on this at the time that I had heard rumours that Kevin Tierney was going away, Shane Briarty was going away, and I was thinking the way the league form for Swanland Bar was going, this was going to be a big test for Ballyhaise and maybe a banana skin, but the lads who were left around Cavan, they really came up trumps with that.
Yeah, we're very fortunate this year because we really have an extensive panel. You know, like it's tough out there for the lads at the minute because nobody is sure of their place. Like there's as good on the bench as there is on the team. So the lads they've all worked hard. They've put in the full drive. They got through that game and every other game that came after it. So we're here again.
The Swanland Bar game, you ended up winning by 8 points. You know, but Stephen Smith, who wasn't available last year, didn't play in the latter stage. He scored 9 points that day. He was phenomenal, probably game of his life. But it wasn't just him. It was the young likes of Porrick Moore, David Brady, players that last year you didn't have Eamon Costello either. So it's a much stronger panel as you proved, and you needed every one of them in the quarter final against Butler's Bridge.
Yeah, and the semi-final is well against Drumlane. Like nowadays, 15 men are not going to win anything. It's just as simple as that. You need your panel. 21 men it's going to take to finish out a championship game, and like we're very fortunate that we have, and we've got a great calibre of player. Do you know, we've got a good mixture of experience and youth, and one is very much complementing each other. We've Eamon Brady this year that we didn't have last year.
True. And
he has really steadied up that back line. Like he's just fantastic.
Yeah, and not just from his kickouts or his shot stopping, it's his vocal ability.
Oh, yeah,
it's his ability to organise the defence is such a big plus. But in the quarter final against Butler's Bridge, you went behind by 3 points, and everybody was kind of saying this is the area that we usually worry about Ballyhaise, that if they go behind, have they got the mettle, have they got it to come back? But they came back against a very good Butler's Bridge team. Yeah,
a lot of people kind of had Butler's Bridge written off, but we never did. Like we knew the quality of players that are in Butler's Bridge. They've a couple of the deadliest forwards in Cavan at the moment.
Definitely.
You know, and they're a team that's coming through. Now, we went behind, it wasn't one of our best, tidiest performances, but we showed true grit and battle all year. Like playing Division 1 league, came from behind, you know, in a lot of games there. So we kind of have turned the tide on that habit, as to say.
Yeah, it was interesting that you mentioned the league form, because at the start of the year, and I discussed this with you earlier on in the year, is that you did find it hard to get a manager early in the, and I know there was a little bit of complications and whatever there, but John Brady came in March, I think it was middle or late March, and you know, a lot of credit has to go to the manager here as well.
You know, see, we had Phelan last year, Phelan Plunkett, who was absolutely excellent, and due to family circumstances and personal circumstances, Phelan decided that he wasn't fit, he couldn't give the commitment this year. So I wouldn't say we found it hard to get a manager. You know,
find how to get the right manager.
Yeah, and at that time of the year, a lot of managers were tied up and whatever as well.
Just seemed a bit of fate worked out. John kind of, I think he had his eyes set on something, didn't work out, and we came along, and it's just a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
So I had to tell him he's the right degree of ignorance for our lot.
and then your league form, you know, that started to get better and whatever, and you built towards this championship, and as I said, went through Ballyhaise, or went through Swanland Bar, then Butler's Bridge, and then you were up against Drumlane, neighbours of Butler's Bridge as well, and you were up against a similar team again. Yeah,
Drumlane they were very, very physical. I don't think anybody appreciated the physicality of that game.
But they're huge men.
Yeah, huge men.
You take the O'Dowds there, the two Monaghan's are physically very strong.
Yeah, very strong. Like, I had more lads going for recovery sessions down into Butler's Bridge after it, because they struggled.
Cryo-spa down there.
Yeah, it's been well used, let me tell you. The Drumlane boys have definitely contributed an extra couple of hundred to their... But that was another tight game, another game where we came from behind again, to finish it out. So, look, if we are where we are where we want to be.
That's it. And then looking over to Niall and the path to the final for yous, the first round game against Shercock, I remember, miserable night. It finished up 2-5 to 1-5. Probably a key moment in it was the black card for Killian Clark. Him and Kieran Brady were marking each other, and it was set up to be an unbelievable battle. Two of the best footballers in the county, but the black card made a little bit of difference that day because you didn't play anywhere near your potential.
No, in fairness, I suppose the black card would have had a bearing on it because Killian would be one of their key members of the Shercock team, but it wasn't a classic by any means or standards. Low score, and it was a very poor weather conditions as well. Left on the foot, very slippy, but we showed a bit of character in the game. We went behind straight after half time by 3 or 4 points, and we rallied round and we got the few vital scores and came back and got the result in the end.
And Kieran Brady was instrumental in that game, as he has been all year.
Yeah, Kieran has been doing well for us all year, and it's no surprise because he has been playing extremely well for Cavan at the under-21 level, and the few chances he got at senior, he has expressed himself well. So he's a big member of our panel, and we'll be hoping Sunday that he continues on the form that he's in.
And Niall, having won the junior championship last year, like, what were the aspirations of Arva going into the intermediate championship this year as well?
Well, it was great to get the win last year in the junior championship after the disappointment of 2013. I suppose at the start of the year we would have probably been talking about consolidation, especially because we're after gaining promotion for our second consecutive year, and we would have said that we'd be very happy if we can consolidate our position in intermediate and also in Division 1B of the league. But as the year has progressed and we got a few victories under our belt, both in the league and in the championship, you tend to get greedy then. So here we are on the verge of promotion and 60 minutes away from an intermediate title. So yeah, we're hungry and we want to finish out with as much silverware as we can. Same as Ballyhaise, we want to get the cup on Sunday. So hopefully it'll go our way.
In the semi-final against Drung, you hit 18 points, which was a phenomenal... Sorry, quarter-final, you hit 18 points against Drung, which was a phenomenal score rate, but you probably would look at the full back line and say the 3 goals going in were a disappointment, but yet again it showed out around the middle third of the field the work rate and the forward quality. Conal Shorten was outstanding for you.
Yeah, in fairness, we again, like the Shercock game, we went behind. I think we went behind by 5 points in that game against Drung. They got a goal immediately after half time and put us on the back foot on a point. 2 scores straight away that nearly rattled us. But again, we showed a bit of resilience and character, and we battled down, and I think we got 10 scores without reply. Yeah. And it was enough to win and get to the end of the night. We wouldn't have been too impressed with our performance to get through, but we got through nonetheless anyway, so hopefully maybe we're saving the best wine till last.
And then in the semi-final, of course, you met Belturbet. It was their first game, second game in the championship this year. They played in the quarter-final the week beforehand, and it was a cracking game of football in that there was 2 players that stood out, Enda Henry from Belturbet and Conal Sheridan from Arva, and it was like a battle of the 2 players. They were going kick for kick, point for point, and it was a great game to watch as well. But going into the latter stages of that game, going into injury time, you were losing by 2 points, and you ended up getting 2 points and a goal to see out a win.
Yeah, in fairness, it was probably hard luck on Belturbet. They had a good win under the belt against Swanland Bar. It was their first game, and a lovely team full of youth and experience there with Jason and Owen McGuigan and a few of the lads still batting away. We went 4 points down in the second half. It was 1-8 to 1-4. Again, we battled back. We've a habit of going behind, but thank God we have the habit of getting back into a game too. It was nip and tuck with a couple of minutes to go, 1-10 apiece, and we were fortunate enough. Like it was a fortunate goal. There's no point in saying any different. And Kieran Brady, he put himself into a position to get up the field, take a shot, pull the trigger, and you know, it went into the back of the net. And there was a certain element of luck to it, but you got to ride your luck when it comes. We don't get it too often, and we were glad to take it in the semi-final.
It bodes well for the final from a neutral point of view to look at it, because it doesn't matter if Ballyhaise go 5 or 6 points up or Arva go 5 or 6 points up. Neither team is going to be worried about coming from behind. So it bodes well that it's going to be entertaining right to the dying minutes.
Yeah, in fairness, two great teams, possibly the two best teams at intermediate level in Cavan. Not going to blow Ballyhaise up any more than they are. They're a senior Division 1 team that have showed their character and their strength throughout the championship and throughout the league this year to regain their status in Division 1. They're in the final on merit. They have great footballers all over the field. We know that we're going to be up again. And I looked at some of I was at 3 of their games, and I think from their full forward line they have amassed 1 goal and 30 points, and 128 is from play. So that's even before you add in David Brady and Kevin Tierney and these other boys. So we know we're up again at Sunday, but hopefully.
You mentioned the league form there, and it was just funny before we went on air. I looked at the league tables, and the 2 highest teams in league standings, Ballyhaise 6th in Division 1, top of Division 1B, are in the intermediate final. So there's no doubt we have the 2 best teams in the intermediate final this year, which I suppose brings it back to the point that maybe league football is getting more and more important every year.
Well, it is. It was important to us that we got up to Division 1. We're up where we belong, as far as we're concerned. Now, we've been at this crack since 1968 to try and sort out this intermediate title. Like last year, it was devastating, absolutely devastating. We never come out the dressing room. Very, very simple. You know, and they're good. Like, and the work is done. They're a good team. Like Arva are a class team. You know, great young team. They haven't lost a championship match nearly in 3 years. Do you know? Like that is going to be tough on us, but I don't know, we're not parking the bus this year, boys. I'm going to be drinking Niall's good wine.
I look forward to
that. I'll save you a drop.
You look at Arva, you won last year, obviously Kieran Brady was over, you had the change managers, we alluded to Ballyhaise having the change manager as well. How's the new manager settling in? Obviously very well.
Oh yeah, in fairness, Kieran Brady was very successful with the club over a 2-year period, and that was his, if you like, ticket. He's a 2-year term when he goes into a club or whatever, and he has brought the club to a new level, and he has moved on at the start of this year, and we got in Brian Dial from Carrigallen, and Brian would have a lot of experience playing at top level football in Leitrim, and he also played inter-county with Leitrim as well. Successful club and county player over the years. So Brian has brought a new dimension to it, new inventory, fresh face, fresh voice, and we have the same backroom team with him. Philip, my brother Philip Brady, Philip Galligan, and Enda Bylan, 3 great ambassadors to the game, and they're putting in a fantastic effort, and I think they work well together, in fairness, and the results to date have proven that. So
they really have. Yeah, the run throughout the league, I suppose, alluded to earlier on, but it really has been phenomenal because you've beaten a lot of good senior teams on the run throughout the league to gain, be on the brink of gaining promotion.
Yeah, we've got a good run in Division 1B. Our target obviously is to get Division 1A, like Susan there. It's important to be playing at the top level of football if you can at all. It bodes well for your championship during the year as well. We're 1 game away from it. It's going to be a tough battle against our neighbours, Killashandra, who unfortunately succumbed to defeat on Saturday evening in the championship. They had a great run all year. It's going to be a titanic battle to get a result against them in the league. They need to get a result, obviously, to stave off relegation. So it's something that we want to try and achieve, if at all possible. And as I say, the championship final on Sunday, we're greedy out where the 3 provinces meet. We like silverware as well, you know.
Just as you mentioned, you know, wanting to get up to Division 1 of the league, Division 1A, just as Susan and Ballyhaise, you know, they believe they should be up there. But your players, if you look down through the players on the Arva team, most of them have come through playing with St. Joe's at underage level and have won at Division 1 or Division 1 at underage, minors, under 16s and whatever, under 21s. So these lads, they're winners, you know, like they know they're up there with the best in the county at their age level and going into the intermediate and I suppose Division 1B.
Yeah, in fairness, that amalgamation of St Joseph's would have stood our players well over the years. We hadn't that much success, would you believe it? I think we lost something like 10 finals.
That's right.
Between under 16 and minor and under 21. Now we did have success at under 21 level. We lost a couple of minor championship finals to the Gaels and a few other teams. But the experience of playing top flight at underage, 16, minor, under 21, definitely was a big help to our players and would have brought them on, you know. But this is a new challenge Sunday, and we're looking forward to it, and hopefully it'll go our way. I know Susan's smiling over at me there, but she always has a pleasant, happy, smiley face.
It's what's going on behind that smile that I'm worried about, you know.
Well, you should be worried, Micky.
I hope we can lessen that smile on Sunday evening around 4:30.
I know.
It's it is lined up like you look at a lot of we talked about St Joe's winning or competing at Division 1, but Kevin Tierney's age group was all the way through Division 1, as have a lot of Ballyhaise teams in the last number of years. The underage success in Ballyhaise has been pretty impressive over the last 10 years or so as well.
Well, we're lucky. We have the numbers. Like, we do a lot of work. A lot of really good work is done at juvenile level in Ballyhaise. You know, and that's what it's about. Like, we're still one parish. Castletower, Ballyhaise, the parish of Castletower, and we're pulling out of 2 schools. But like, we have Drumalee borderers, we've Cavan Gaels borderers, we've Drung, Red Hills, you know, but so much work has been done to take them players on through. And the fact that most of our underage football is actually played as a single unit as opposed to an amalgamation, you know, has stood to us as well, because we're not losing that many. You know, like, there's a big drop off and a recorded drop off between minor to senior. A lot of lads, but we've been lucky enough, especially that team of Kevin Tierney's, you know, that year, they all came through, same as Barry Kelly, you know, Eamon Costello, Sucker, Stephen Smith, they all came through in the same year as well. And now you've got the new crop of minors coming up, David Brady, Marcus Duffy, you know, it's right, like, it's hard work pays off, and it is down to hard work. Barry Tierney was chairman of the juveniles there for a long number of years, then he was succeeded by Mark O'Rourke, and then this year he's been succeeded by Desi Riley. Like, they're all workers.
And great club men.
Great club men.
Without a doubt. Niall was reminding us, as Niall is probably the greatest man to play down any situation, but he was reminding us before we came on air that the last time Ballyhaise won the intermediate, Templeport won the junior in 1968. That, you know, so it's all lined up, you know. Arva's just going to walk out. They're just going to hand over the cup, I think, at this stage.
I don't even know if we'd bother turning up at all, to be honest.
Please, God. If the bus goes missing, it's nothing to do with me. I wouldn't say that, David.
You wouldn't like it handed to you like that now, so as much as.
You wouldn't, because, like, it's the fight that we're up for this year. Like, it's the first time Ballyhaise have been called several names. Like, I remember going in, getting the ball back from a dressing room a couple of years ago, and the comment says, "Oh, the only soft thing about here is Ballyhaise," you know. And like, there's been comments like that, but Ballyhaise have a lot.
Never the bride.
Stuff
like that.
Yeah. We used to go through.
Someone said to me today, you might as well go in by don't go by the cathedral this year. You might as well go in by the roundabout. Go by the bypass. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. But it's not. No, the lads are up for it. The form is good. Like, the hurt, and I remember sitting at the after meal in the Kilmore last year, and I remember Larry McCuskey standing up, and Larry was saying, you know, you really have to lose one to win one, and I was just standing there going, you know. But
it's funny, Susan, because I was looking back, and over the last 15 or 20 years, no team has lost 2 finals at an intermediate level in a row in the last 15 years. Den lost 2 intermediate.
Den actually lost 2 or maybe 3 back in the late 90s, wasn't it?
Possibly, yeah.
Back to back?
Yeah, back to back. But no, that's not the same.
But there are other teams, the likes of Drumalee.
Usually it happens the other way around. Usually it happens the other way around, where you lose an intermediate, and then the following year you win one, or junior.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so it's possibly. Look, it's hard to know. To say the experience of the final of the previous year is a huge advantage.
The hurt of it. It's the actual physical hurt of losing that final. Like, because players actually had to come out And, you know, everybody blames everybody else. But as a result of losing that final, lads had to look at themselves. And they seriously looked at themselves. And it's, you know, you've got lads on the sideline, you've got managers and that. But at the end of the day, it's 15 lads at any one time on that pitch. And it's them that have to get themselves across the line. And I just think enough damage was done last year to just, you know, we're definitely not going to hand it to Arva. You know, it'll be a case of whichever team wins on Sunday, they will be the better team.
And they'll deserve
you know, because both teams are going to come out for this fight, and we're under no illusion whatsoever that Arva have, you know, and they're the jammiest team around, boys. They are the jammiest team.
And you are probably the most unlucky team around.
Yeah, but see, you know, it's the Brady luck is going to win off here. We're not sure which Brady it's going to be.
Well, that's it. Some Brady's going to be celebrating on Sunday night. I suppose they're still hurt in Arva from the junior final of 2 years ago, so maybe that might...
Oh, well, Susan alluded to there was a lot of hurt in Ballyhaise last year, and fairness to Ballyhaise, fantastic club, and showed an awful lot of character. They're back in the final again where they want to be, to try and correct a few of the wrongs that didn't go right for them last year. They can do no more. They have showed great character all year, great resilience. They remind me of Mayo, in fairness, because they keep coming back for more. Fantastic club, fantastic team, great team every year. They just haven't got across the line. And
but that's going to be the difference
this
year now.
I'm hoping it'll be another year. Maybe they passed by a few.
We're going to have to get between
We're after getting the Dublin bus for this weekend. You know, send the Mayo on your way.
No, but it's a testament to their players and their management of the club that they stuck to their guns. They didn't throw in the towel. They're back at the final stage again here, son, and it's a credit to them all involved.
I'm bringing it back to yourself and Arva again now, but like 20 years ago you played in an intermediate final in 1995 and you were playing that day yourself.
Not managing it as you thought.
No, the final they lost in the 80s he was managing. That's what I said, yeah. He put the boots back on in 95. So
hard to manage it when I wasn't even born, Micky.
Oh, you were born in 1968, so you were.
I'd say
I want that edited, actually.
Stricken from the record.
Are you sure he was born, not invented?
You're in breach of some media rights there, Micky.
Again,
you signed the waiver when you come in here now. But you can bring that experience to those players as well for this weekend, you know, and the hurt that you felt losing an intermediate final. I'm sure that you remember it like it was yesterday.
I remember it. Yeah, surely it was. It was a big occasion for the club to qualify for the final that year because we were operating from Division 3 and we were playing an experienced Division 1 team in Templeport. And on the day they deserved to win. They beat us convincingly, I think 7 or 8 points. But it's 20 years ago, and fair play to Templeport when I have the stage. I compliment them on winning their junior championship yesterday. Very hard luck to our neighbours, Cornafane. But they've been 20 years waiting for success down there, and like there's no sureties. We probably thought in 95 we'd be back in 96, 97, 98, you know, and it didn't happen. You know, it's 20 years since we contested an intermediate final, so we're back there next Sunday again, so please God.
And how many intermediate finals did you play in, Susan?
Me? None. But I suffered looking at the ball. Every one of them. Quite a few of them over here. But it's, you know, I played different things, not football.
Well, I'll tell you what, right, we're going to put you on the spot here, right? Call it. I want a scoreline from both of you for the match on Sunday. That's
crude.
That's a good
one.
That's crude. We'll go with Susan first, ladies first.
I would no go with Niall. I'll pass it on.
Well, I suppose you put me on the spot, but I'm going to say that it's going to be a high-scoring game because Ballyhaise have got high scores in 3 of their games. I think Arva have got high scores in maybe 1 of their games. So there's a potential there for a high-scoring game. So I'll call it 1-15 to Ballyhaise. And 2-14 to Arva. Fingers crossed and touch wood.
Well, there's a 2-point win for Arva.
Not a hope you getting 2 goals. Hard there. You know.
Maybe they're bringing the bus, are they?
We're parking everything. There's nothing going through that baby. Not a hope. Look at. Arva have been putting in up good scores and they certainly have been scoring goals, but they've also been conceding goals. Do you know, like it's a hard one to call, but I reckon, you know, never mind the scoreline, It'd probably be about 3 points in the difference either way for Ballyhaise.
Either way for Ballyhaise. So we're going to just put in +3 points.
Excellent, excellent. Well, look, I don't think there's a better way to finish the first half of the show here. Look at our best wishes to both teams. Hopefully it's as entertaining as this show has been so far. Anyway,
it's only starting.
The two teams can put on as good a performance as the two people have tonight. I'll tell you, we're in for a crack over
yeah, well, definitely. So get into Kingspan Breffni Park this Sunday for the Hotel Kilmore Intermediate Championship final between Ballyhaise and Arva. Throw-in is at 3 p.m.
Is there a curtain raiser for that game?
There is actually. It's the minor C final.
Yeah.
Ballinyan then.
Ballinyan then, exactly. So
minor C final, probably at 1:30, I'd say.
Yeah,
1 and 3.
It's 1 o'clock.
1
o'clock to allow the parade and all. So it's 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Commentary will be live on wearecavan.com. So join in with us on that, and I'm sure around the world, let us know where you're listening in, and we'll be delighted to give you a shout out. So our thanks to Susan Brady, chairperson of Ballyhaise Club, and to Niall Brady, chairman of the Arva Club.
And a shake of hands between you after that fight.
Just to show that what a perfect way to finish the first half. Join us in part 2, where we'll be looking back over the weekend action from the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship and the Cully's Craft Junior Championship.
Hold on a minute, Niall. We've tightened the boys. Your prediction, boys. We didn't
That's
get
that. Cut to the break. Come on. I had the predictions before you came in, anyway, so let's get them live anyway.
Yeah, come on, boys.
Right, I'm going to give you my prediction. Jeez, I don't like doing this because I'm supposed to be impartial. No, as I said to you, Niall, two fantastic teams, really, really good, and I think that Ballyhaise, just losing last year's final, that they'll probably pip this one. I'm going to say, I'm actually going to go Ballyhaise by 3 points as well, so I am, but I'm not going to give a scoreline for it.
You big chicken.
Says you one. Damien?
It's very simple. If I didn't back Ballyhaise, I wouldn't be let into the house tonight because my wife is a Castletower woman, so I'd have to say. But having said that, then last year I was cursed for backing Ballyhaise going into the final by somebody.
I wonder who.
I was cursed. So I don't know. I think it's going to be very close. I think I'm going to go with a 1 point win for Ballyhaise.
Oh. And on that bombshell, we'll cut to a commercial break.
Cavan Crystal Hotel provides 4-star accommodation on the edge of Cavan Town. Located conveniently on the Dublin Road, just 60 minutes away from Dublin. With 85 beautifully appointed bedrooms and a number of luxurious suites. We offer wedding packages. With our 1 wedding a day policy, we guarantee to make yours a special day. Enjoy a meal at our award-winning Opus One restaurant, or have a drink in the atrium or residence bars. Feeling energetic? You can work out in Zest Health and Fitness Club, or maybe pamper yourself and visit Utopia Health and Beauty Clinic, or Avita's Hair Salon, both located on site. Situated only 5 minutes from Cavan Town Centre and local amenities. Cavan Crystal Hotel. Gateway.
Welcome back, folks, to Gaelic Football Views on wearecavan.com. A very entertaining first half. What sports, what characters. If a club is a reflection of the leader of the club, then we've got 2 very entertaining clubs in Arva and Ballyhaise.
We do, but like it has to be said about both of the chairpersons of those clubs, Niall Brady and Susan Brady, absolutely phenomenal club people.
Yeah.
You know, the work that they do for their clubs is absolutely second to none.
And thankless work.
Thankless work.
Yeah.
And we see them week in, week out in Breffni Park, every single match, both of them at them, you know, and they just really are GAA club people and all about their community.
Yeah, and you're talking to them on the phone and you're hearing that they're down at training, whether it be an underage training or an adult training, or they're just such good club people.
And that's why I didn't like calling a result on that, because I'd love to see both of them win it, because they are 2 great clubs and I have great time for both of them. But I just felt that I had said it to Niall before, and he asked me as a neutral. He did say to me, "Look, as a neutral, Mickey, what way do you see it?" And I says, "Just the fact that they lost the final last year." And Susan said it there, the hurt. Yeah. We know what it's like.
The funny thing is that you look back over it, and it's actually I had a point to make there, and I'm after losing it altogether. But anyway, it's going to be a hell of a good final. There is a point, I'll come back to it at some point, because I had a really good point and I was thinking of it during the first half, forgot it. Anyway, we're going to move on because we only have about 10 minutes. We're meant to do this in 10 minutes anyway, so we are, because I'd be shot.
Yeah.
But anyway,
right.
we're going to move on very quickly. The results from the weekend. We're going to start off with the Farnham Arms Hotel Minor C Football Championship semi-finals, which took place on Saturday at 4 o'clock up in Killincare. It was Den against Lavey, and Den came away with the victory here. 5 goals and 8 points to Lavey's 2 goals and 4. And it was a case of goals win games here. Yeah,
absolutely. And in the second game, we saw Balieborough taking on St Finbarrs. And again, goals win games. It was Balieborough 3 goals and 11, St Finbarrs 10 points. And as we said, that game will precede the intermediate final on Sunday. That's at 1 p.m. in Kingspan Breffni Park, where we'll see Den taking on Balieborough in that Minor C final.
The Farnham Arms Hotel Minor A Championship semi-finals took place at the weekend. Lara were taking on Southern Gales, and Lara came away with a victory here of 3 points. 2 goals and 9 points to Lara, 12 points to Southern Gales. A massive win for Lara.
Absolutely huge. And again, goals win games, and for Lara to beat the amalgamation as well here was phenomenal, because they were tipped to go on and do big things in this championship.
People, the current champions, and people expected Southern Gales. But the funny thing being, Lara were beaten in the Division 2 League final by Knockbride, and they took the promotion up to Division 1 anyway, and now we're in the Division 1 final. What a phenomenal story that is.
That's absolutely brilliant. And in the second game, the second semi-final of the Minor A Football Championship, saw Ramor taking on Crusherlaw, and again, goals win games, because this one ended Ramor 4 goals and 12, Crusherlaw 3 goals and 12 points, a 3-point victory, a 1-goal victory for Ramor, and that sees them through to the Minor A, the Farnham Arms Hotel Minor A final. And again,
for the third year in a row.
Yeah, for the third year in a row. And again, that was a very, very good Crusherlaw team as well that they were playing.
It's funny actually, I was just reading the report on that game today. Probably the 2 standout players were county under 16 players, James Smith for Crusherlaw and young Patterson, I can't think of his first name, for Ramor, seemed to be the standout players. They're both under 16, but you want to see these boys. They're huge. They're absolutely huge.
I don't know, is it we're getting smaller, or these young fellas are getting bigger?
The old age is catching up.
I'll tell you one thing, Nick, even watching the games, which we'll get to now in a few minutes over the weekend, the younger lads, they're so, they're so athletically built these days, and they're just standing out as unbelievable footballers.
Really
it's great to see. It bodes well for the future of Cavan football.
It does indeed. So we'll move on very quickly to the Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship. Sorry, the A final will be played before the senior final
2 weeks time.
Week. So that's Lara against Ramor. The Hotel Kilmore Senior Championship semi-finals took place on the weekend. The first of them saw Castlerahan taking on Killishandra in Kingspan Breffni Park on Saturday evening. Castlerahan came away with a 4-point victory here. 13 points to 9, and it was a case, as we said on the show last week, that if Castlerahan get the lead, they won't relinquish.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what happened.
They went into a 2-point lead within 5 minutes. Then Daniel Luby scored a point for Killishandra. Killian O'Reilly got a point for Killishandra. They only scored twice in the first half. And in fact, Killian O'Reilly's was one of the best points I've seen scored this year. Absolutely brilliant. He blocked the ball down on his own 13-metre line with a diving block. The ball flew out of the defence, and he nearly, I don't think he touched the ground after he bounced, because it was just like he glided back up onto his feet and made a run right down through the middle. The ball was played up into the Killishandra forward line. He came back out to Killian O'Reilly, and he burst through 2 tackles and drilled it over the bar. Great score, it has to be said, for Killian O'Reilly. But Cian Mackey then popped up with 2 points, and Oisin O'Connell got his 2nd point of the first half, and they led 5 points to 2 at half time. I talked to you at half time in this game, and I says, Castlerahan are going to do what they always do. They're going to come flying out of the blocks here. They're going to score 3 or 4 points on the trot, and then they're going to just see out the game after, close out the game after that. They did exactly that. Within 2 minutes of the restart, they had 3 points scored. Enda O'Connell, Cian McEnroe and Paul Smith all getting on the scoreboard. They led 8 points to 2, and it was as good as over 2 minutes into the second half, really.
Yeah,
they kind of traded points then.
Credit to Killishandra,
Yeah.
never give up,
Never
they kept
give up.
battling away, but key to it was probably the fact that Castlereagh held Declan McKiernan fairly well. He scored 2 points, one from free, one from open play, both in the second half. First half he didn't score, and throughout the championship they'd been, relying on Declan for scores, and they had their homework done, Castlereagh.
Well, they did, but the thing about Killishandra is that they're very direct and they go down the middle. Thomas Riley and Declan McKiernan, they link up so well and they drive down the middle. But against Castlereagh, you can't go down the middle. You just can't go down the middle. You will get tackled by 2 or 3 players and you're going to be turned over. And that can get frustrating for a team. And then Killishandra, they were trying to do that, but then they were trying to pick pockets in behind the Castlereagh defence. And their passes were just, an inch too far, or, just a little bit too far behind the player. And stuff
I will say I didn't think Killishandra played to their potential in this game at all. There was a lot of fundamental mistakes from players that you expect better from, and I thought that was key. You alluded to it there, that little hand passes that would usually go perfect for Killishandra just went wrong, and maybe the validity of the situation, of the occasion, got to them a wee bit, and they didn't perform to the best of their ability. But having said that, it's been one hell of a year for Killishandra.
Absolutely brilliant.
And you take the fact that they're missing Dara Tighe.
Yeah.
He's worth 3 or 4 points a game. Not that he's going to score them, but that he's going to tighten up the opposition so much.
Definitely. And just as you say that, about their fundamental mistakes and whatever, they were chasing the game.
Yeah.
They were always chasing it, and that meant that the pressure was on, and that, they were trying to force the issue a little bit. And maybe that's why a fist pass was just a little bit too far or something like that, or a kick pass was just away from a player, and that's what happens when you're chasing a game. But all credit to Castlereagh, because they've been doing this, and we see it with them. They're very good at what they do. They've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
They close out games.
Surprise.
Yeah, and they are probably the best team in the county, and they're going to be meeting the second best team in the county at doing it, I think, as well.
Oh yeah, sorry, at doing it. Yeah.
And look, all credit to them. They went 13 points to 7 up with 28 minutes on the clock, and then Austin Fitzpatrick and Paddy King pulled back a couple of scores for Killishandra, but they lost by 4 points. But as you said, well done to Killishandra. It's been a hell of a year, reaching the first ever semi-final of a senior championship. But Castlereagh back in a final after 4 years,
Yeah, without a doubt. And then next week's show we'll preview the senior championship final. But the second semi-final took place on Sunday afternoon after the junior final, and it saw Killigarry taking on Kingscourt, last year's finalists, and Kingscourt, the Stars, came away with a 2-point victory here, 111 to 1-9. It was an interesting enough game, but Kingscourt looked in control. Yeah, it was the same again. Kingscourt did what they did against Cavan Gales, and like Castlereagh did before them and stuff like that. They went into a 7-1 lead with 20 minutes on the clock in the first half. Now, Brian Shannon did pull a couple of points back, and it looked like Killigarry were going to. He scored 3 points actually in the first half, all 3 points for Killigarry in the first half. But on 27 minutes. Darragun got a goal for Castlereagh, or for Kingscourt, which left it 1-7 to 3 points at half time, and it was there was 7 points were always going to be hard to claw back against Kingscourt as well. Then they started trading points, and it looked like Killigarry were really going to get back into it when they got a goal through young Talbot when he came on, Daniel Talbot, and it was a good goal. But Brian Shannon kept kicking his points, keeping them in it. Then there was the sending off of Joe Dillon. Joe Dillon, we don't know what happened, couldn't see it because it was an off-the-ball incident or whatever. He did get sent off. It was funny. He was taken off. The incident happened. The ball was up the other end of the pitch. The ball went out of play. Kingscourt substituted Joe Dillon, and they had Philip Smith brought on. Then the umpire called in. No, there was actually a play or two in between, I think. Was there a play as well? Yeah, there was at least one play in between, and then the umpires called in about it, or the umpires called in Brendan Sweeney, the referee. I'm nearly sure there was a play in between, but anyway, it was. Joe Dillon was brought back out on the pitch. He was shown a red card, and Philip Smith had to go off, and then all of a sudden Killigarry, who, you know, their big players didn't play for them on the day, but I'd say that Kingscourt got the matchups right here in this game. Yeah. I think that Niall Lynch
looked at the Killygarry team and he knew who to snuff out. Martin Riley was well marshalled. Matty McKenna was well marshalled. Dara Gannon was well marshalled. You know, the only one that couldn't hold back was Brian Shannon.
He was phenomenal.
You know,
he was absolutely brilliant.
It's not that the other lads didn't try, it's just they weren't let play. It looked like that. And look,
oh no, geez, they tried very well. But we commented on earlier on in this year's shows about Shane Gray. Like what he done to Martin Dunn last week was he just snuffed them out completely. Pádraig Faulkner, you don't have to say it more. He's Pádraig Faulkner. He's one of the best defenders in the county, and Rory Shorten was excellent as well. Now I was very, very impressed with Brian Shannon, and if there's one player from Killygarry that showed leadership, that showed determination, he scored 7 points, 6 frees, 1 from open play. But that wasn't why I'd have him saying he played well. He was so good from open play. His work rate, his determination, his guts.
Winning the ball, the whole lot. Like it was just, as you said, like all the attributes you need to be a leader. Yeah. And he showed
every one of them. Like Killygarry can't really complain about the result in the end for the simple reason they only had 3 scorers. Yeah. You know, Talbot getting the goal, Martin Riley with 2 frees. They only had 2 scorers from open play. They only got 2 scores from open play. 1 point from Brian Shannon and the goal from Daniel Talbot. You know, it does say a lot. But what that actually shows, and we said it last week on the show, or I said it anyway, King's Cross defence are so mean. They're ridiculously good. And what we're going to have now, well, we'll not even get into that because we're running out of time, but we're going to have a damn good final. It'll be a tactical final, but it'll be an entertaining final.
Yeah, definitely, and including like the substitutes that come on as well. Barry Tully starting for Kingston. Or as you said, we'll do a preview on that next week. But it was a really good performance. It has to be said by Kings Court again. It's going to be an interesting final in that the two of them are very, very similar, and we'll discuss all that in depth next week.
Because tonight we have to discuss the biggest game of the weekend, the Cully's Craft Bakery Junior Championship Final, which saw Templeport lift the Hugh Leddy Cup, beating Cornafane 116 to 112. It was the 2 best teams in the county. It was a very entertaining game of football. But the best team definitely won. Yeah,
the best team definitely won. Definitely on the day, Templeport were the better team. And in fact, they led by 1 goal and 16 to 10 points going into the last few minutes of that game with 25 minutes in the second half played, you know, so there were 9 points up. In fairness to Cornafane, they didn't give up. They scored a couple of points through Barry Doyle, and Cian Gagan got a consolation goal maybe on 32 minutes or whatever. But, you know, had it been a wet day or something like that, or a miserable day, it could have suited Cornafane, but it was ideal conditions, and the footballers that Templeport have shone through on the day. Yeah. You know, like you look through them, Benjamin Kelly, Ben Kiernan, Lasse Morganrath, who got man of the match, was absolutely brilliant for them. Some of the hits that he put in, some of the tackles that he put in the half back line, and they lost Dylan Raythorne towards the end of the first half as well, who's one of their massive players. I thought that Michael Devine was divine inspiration for him, so he was absolutely brilliant. And even Sean Dolan Brent, you couldn't pick out somebody who didn't play well for Templeport.
Yeah, they excelled.
Donald Maguire, the brother of the man Mountain himself, had a great game at midfield.
Yeah, so like it was a very, very good performance by Templeport. Very organised, very professional. And what impressed me was, usually you see junior finals and go out and play and do, you know, just go and play the football. But you could see that both teams were organised. They had set pieces. They had ideas for their kick-outs. They were structured. Cornafane playing with the sweeper. Templeport for their own kick-outs, making sure that they weren't throwing them out to the middle of the field early on. They went short. Cornafane had to push up. Then they could kick them over them. There was so many good, intelligent things going on in the game.
Credit due to not only Templeport for picking the manager, but the manager that they picked in Fintan Riley. He's done a phenomenal job with them this year. You know, it was a surprise appointment for Templeport.
First time
managerial
managing
job.
A senior team, an adult team, in fact. So, but having said that, it was the right appointment, as you can see. But then, I have to say, my heart went out to Cornafane because I do believe that you're at a disadvantage if you top your group in that junior championship, and they've fallen victim to that as Ballymacue did last year. But I would say, if you look back on this next year, I said it on the broadcast after, Cornafin will be there. They've got a good age profile. You know, most of them are late, maybe between late 20s down to teens. You know, I think Cahill Jordan might be 33, 34 years of age, but there's a lot of
plenty of years left in him.
Exactly,
Still
there is,
plenty
sure.
of years left.
But Barry Doyle, some of his points in the second half were absolute class.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. I'm not sure. I'm just having a look down there to see what he scored.
6 points in total.
6 points in total.
1 free and 5.
And some of them were just exceptional, you know.
Very little room.
Very little room. And there was one incredible one where he was in a standing position and received the ball, just jinked on his left foot, but turned onto his right foot and kicked it from a standing position from outside the 45-metre line, and it just curled beautifully in and straight over the bar. Like, there was plenty of distance on it as well. Like, great score. And you know, but they worked tirelessly right throughout Cornafin, but they just couldn't deal with the speed and the firepower that Templeport had.
It was probably the opening 10 minutes of the second half that was the winning of the game for Templeport, because with the wind, you thought 3 points wasn't a massive lead for them, but they came out in the second half. Benjamin Kelly going back in as wing half back was a massive plus to them, and credit to them, they were absolutely brilliant. A quick word before we finish up on it on Ben Kiernan, for me, was phenomenal. I thought his leadership, he missed the first free or first shot he took. He hit 2 straight away after that were absolutely brilliant. 1 free and 1 from on the 45-metre line. Like, he just took leadership, but then some of his passing inside to Owen Doonan and to Liam Gallagher.
Amazing. And it's like, the whole forward line were brilliant, but another special word about Liam Gallagher, because he's not the biggest of players, so he's not, but by God, he makes up for it in heart and determination, and some of his scores were absolutely phenomenal. I think he ended up with 5 points and whatever, but the goal for me was absolutely brilliant. He went up with Andrew Smith and Mark Johnson, so he did. It was a long ball into the full forward line, and it was just coming to the edge of the 6-yard box.
It wasn't him who got the goal.
No. He didn't score the goal.
Sorry, he
didn't score the goal.
Yes,
but
right,
what he did was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah.
It was into the edge of the 6-yard box, and he's, as I said, he's not the biggest of men, but he managed to get up between Andrew Smith, who's a big man, and Mark Johnson, who's not a small man as well. And what he did was he just flicked the ball away from both of them, and he saw the run of the midfielder, Owen Martin, and Owen Martin was left at an open goal. All he had to do was toe poke it into the net. It was just, for a young footballer to do that, be so
presence of mind,
and to not be selfish about it. He was so unselfish. He could have he probably could have went to try and catch it or fist it over the goalkeeper who was coming out to tackle him or whatever, or go jump at him. But he laid it down to the player, and that was incredible as well.
Special. It was special. Yeah, you're dead right.
It was a really. I was so impressed with his performance as well.
Brilliant.
You couldn't pick anybody that, like, they were all brilliant. And in fact, I just want to mention there was a few lads that came on, the likes of Martin Baxter there, the full forward Kieran McManus,
Jim
Kiernan, Killian Smith as well. They're all stalwarts of Templeport Football Club. They'd be on the older brigade, maybe in their early 30s, late 20s.
Some of them, yeah.
They used to frequent the bar we had in Ballyconnell.
Right.
Great lads, and delighted to see them picking up their junior medals and junior cup.
I'd say there was some crackdown in the keeper's arms at last night.
There was a bonfire lit at the cross just as you're coming down into Templeport, and I believe, I work with a few of the people from Templeport, and the excitement down there last night was just second to none, I believe. Absolutely brilliant. The bonfire lit, the people lining up either side of the road for the bus, and the supporters to come back in, and you know, absolutely brilliant. So hard luck on Cornafin as well.
They'll have their day, yeah.
They'll definitely have their day, and especially they've got a young team as well coming through as well.
Exactly.
A mixture of
they had a very good under 16 team this year, I think. Yeah, this year that will bring on more footballers to that, and Cornafin will have their day. The Reds will lift the cup in the next few years, I've no doubt about that. But look, congratulations to Templeport. A very quick word about the Hurling final, which took place yesterday. It ended up in a draw. That game is going to be broadcast. We're doing the commentary on it. The replay is Wednesday night on in Kingspan Breffni Park at 8 o'clock, and it's between Coothill and Mullahoran. It was a very entertaining game, so if you turn on the app or get on to We Are Cavan and listen into that, it'll be brilliant entertainment this Wednesday night, 8 o'clock on wearecavan.com.
Quickly on that match ended up on Kingspan Breffni Park, 4 goals and 8 points to Mullahoran, 3 goals and 11 points to Coothill. Coothill were leading by 14 points at one stage in the second half, and Mullahoran came back. Brilliant display by Stephen Harton in the middle of the field, dragged them back into the game. So well done to Mullahoran, and they'll have to go again at it on Wednesday night.
And it will be very entertaining.
Definitely.
If you're about to get into that game, actually, because I don't get to a lot of hurling games, but I was at that and it was absolutely excellent.
Yes, and really good hurlers.
I just want to offer me congratulations to Coothill under 14s who won the Division 1 title at Hurling in the Hurling Championship to beat Balieborough on last Thursday night. So well done to Coothill on the 14s there. So that brings us to the end of this week's show. After a row at the start of it, and then
a row at the start of it, a kiss at half time between the two of them, and then some great results in the rest of the football, I suppose.
Exactly, it was a wonderfully entertaining show, I'm sure you'll agree. But remember, if you want to get in contact with us, we'd be delighted to hear from you. You can email us on GaelicFootballViews@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook by searching Gaelic Football Views, or you can follow us on Twitter @GaelicFV.
Yeah, or you can go on to wearecavan.com and you can get all their Twitter and Facebook and all their social media stuff on that.
Going on that, and just hit the TV show. Obviously, if you're watching this, chances are you've seen it on wearecavan.com.
Excellent. So look, our thanks to Brian Daly in the back room there, who's always here week in, week out, pulling the strings, pressing the buttons and keeping the lights on us.
We've a pot of honey for Brian Daly actually as well. So we have all the way from Templeport. We were presented with that on Saturday night down in the Keeper's Arms. So thanks to Aidan Brady for the honey from Templeport.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, until next week, it's good night from me and
God bless.